Hi everybody, welcome back to the Health and Wellness in Bayonne show. I'm your co-host, Dr. Mike Acanfora, and my co-host, Kathy Pacifico. Today we're really excited. Actually, we had a whole show before we even came on with Reverend Allison Feehan. How are you, Allison?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me today.
Awesome. So Allison is a Reiki master.
Yes.
Which means what?
Well, Reiki is a Japanese form of energy healing, and the Rei is for the universal energy, and the Ki is for our own life force, which we all utilize inside of us, right down to the cellular level. And what it does is it empowers our potential for our mind, body, spirit to be balanced as a whole.
Okay, so we want some of that.
You want some of that?
Oh yeah, we want some of that.
Just some? I think I want a lot of
that.
A lot.
Oh, we want a lot of that.
So how do we capture that?
So, tell us, let's back up. How, tell us about your journey. Like, how did you get started? Start in the beginning.
So, the very beginning, I have seen spirit and seen colors and aura since I was a child. I saw spirit very differently. I kind of saw with my eyes and felt the presence and energy of others, just not really quite understanding what it was that was happening to me. As I gotten older, the experiences got very different, some more confrontational than others, and still trying to harness and understand what it was, the changes that I was going through. Then as I got older, I had run into a woman who was a healer, and she told me that I had healing, like a healing ribbon in my energy, and that I have always done this type of work. So I went and saw a Reiki teacher and started to take the level 1 Reiki and started to see all kinds of colors and starting to get a wealth of information and started just having knowings and taking on ailments. So for me, I knew that that was the right direction that I was going into.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
So you not only had this within you, but you've also trained to hone your expertise, your skill.
I've done lots of training, chakra training, balancing, mediumship, psychic training. I've had all sorts of training just to kind of understand how the body speaks, how spirit speaks, how, seeing angels, et cetera, et cetera. So incorporating all of that into a session, Reiki is not a religion. That's something that it's not. But what it is it's the ability for all of us to empower ourselves and to balance ourselves so that we can be the best person we can be every day.
And how do the sessions work, and how do the training evolve?
That's such a good question. So each session is completely different, even if the client is the same. And that really entails a lot of Reiki practitioners or teachers don't touch the body at all. They'll stay about 3 inches above the body in the aura itself, which I do, especially for some chakra clearing and balancing. But I do something called a smooth down method. So I actually kind of gently smooth the body, and I'm scanning the body. I'm asking the body, what's wrong with you? How do you feel? Is this broken? Is something wrong? Do you have high blood pressure? How is your cholesterol feeling? During that process, the client goes into a meditated state, or they feel very relaxed. And that's when I really start to get lots of information, some of it medically, intuitively.
Without any speaking?
Without any speaking. Sometimes I may start to speak to the client and ask some questions. Sometimes a loved one may step in that has crossed over and will give some information about the client, specific to what the client needs to hear.
And you mentioned chakra cleansing.
Yes.
What is that?
So we have 7 main chakras in our body that start at the base of the spine and into the crown. And those 7 main chakras are like little energy wheels or vortexes that spin in a clockwise manner. And each one of them is associated with a color and a specific tonal note. So they vibrate at a specific tonal note, and they're responsible for specific organs in the body, as well as emotional and physical aspects of our body.
What is a tonal note?
A tonal note is if you were to play an instrument, A, B, C, F. So each one of them vibrates to that specific note. So what I do during the chakra balancing is I work with the chakra to clear it. I may spin it in a counterclockwise manner. I will apply Reiki symbols to it, which are Japanese symbols of power, emotional, emotional clearings and physical clearings, and then I will move it into the clockwise manner that it's supposed to be spinning in.
That's fascinating.
It is.
Yeah.
It is fascinating.
I always wanted to learn more about that.
Yeah, fascinating. So, how old were you when you first recognized this?
According to my mother, I was about 4 or 5 years old when
Okay.
I started to just have conversations with people.
That nobody else could see.
Right.
And thank God your mom didn't
Right.
say, "Oh, we need to get her
Right.
to
Right.
a medical doctor." Or
My
something
mother,
silly.
my mother definitely embraced it as a gift. She knew that I
Wonderful.
was different,
Okay.
and me and my sisters were slightly different than, if you want to call normal. But yeah,
Yeah, it's okay. We're all a little slightly different
right.
than normal.
I love that.
When do you start training? So you grow up, you go and you start working. Did you go to college?
I did go to college. I actually have a degree in business.
Excellent.
And I worked in corporate for 17 years,
Okay.
which can be a little tricky sometimes when you can pick up on others' energy
Sure.
in the cubicle next to you, and you kind of understand that they may have had a rough day, and you kind of
Right.
can't approach them on what you know
Right.
about them.
Okay.
So.
And at what point, now, right now
Mm-hmm.
in your world, you have left corporate?
I actually still have a corporate job
Okay.
because I'm really good at it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But I had opened a business called Integrative Healing and Wellness in
Wonderful.
Bayhead,
Yep.
and it incorporates various modalities.
Gotcha.
Because as you know, being a chiropractor, there's really no one modality that fits one person. You
Right.
may see various modalities working to heal the person as
Sure.
a whole.
Sure.
So that's what my business does, is it incorporates and offers to the client various modalities of healing, of coaching, health and wellness.
Wonderful.
So yeah,
That's fantastic.
so I do that as well.
Do you have an opportunity to explore that in the corporate setting? I mean, I know you did a lot of project managing. It sounds like
yes. My goal is to be a very big presence in corporations to offer health and wellness to their employees, because just incorporating, as you know, mindfulness and gratitude every day into your life is life changing.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
We do like a quote, not a quote, but questions of the morning with
Sure.
the team. I bought them all shampoo for their shower so that when they're getting the water on their face, they're asking themselves, what am I enthusiastic about today? And what am I
Absolutely.
prepared for?
Absolutely.
And what am I grateful for?
What am I grateful for?
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
I did incorporate that even into my home, my children in their bathroom. I put, even with a Sharpie marker on a piece of paper, every morning on their mirror was, what are you grateful for? And then in a heart it said thank you, because just saying thank you and being grateful every day
Right.
could mean the world. It could change your life. So
Absolutely.
every morning as they brushed their teeth and every night before they went to bed, they had to at least mentally think of one thing that they were grateful for. Were you grateful that you got 50 cents to buy a cookie at lunch?
Right.
Then that's great. So
Yes.
I want you to recognize the gratitude in the extra 50 cents. So
That's really cool.
yeah.
Getting back to Reiki,
Mm-hmm.
how did Reiki come about? Like, what's the origins of Reiki?
Reiki was created by Dr. Usui back in the early 1900s.
Okay.
He had went and meditated for 21 days
Okay.
without any food.
Yep.
And the Reiki symbols had come to him. So he kind of reinvented Japanese energy healing work with the Reiki symbols. So then he brought it back and opened teachings in schools.
Okay.
How it came to us
Yep.
in the West was by a woman, Mrs. Takada. And she became very ill while visiting her family in Japan.
Sure.
And she had visited a Reiki center, and she had daily sessions of Reiki, and she was scheduled for surgery, never needed the surgery, became well, and felt she became enlightened in the process. So
Right.
she saw this whole aspect of her life that she had never really recognized before, and she decided that she was going to bring it back west, and she opened a center, and she incorporated Reiki into the West as we know it.
Fascinating. Mm-hmm. Fascinating. And from there,
It spread. There's various methods. Like I said, there's lots of Reiki practitioners and masters that practice very differently. And honestly, there's really no wrong way to do Reiki.
Sure.
It's all intention and love for the client to be well.
How do you know that? How do you know when you're looking for someone that's doing Reiki that they're I know it's about energy, but
Yeah,
besides that,
I think too, as you meet somebody even at a party, you know whether or not your energy resonates with that person. You just click. You have that feeling with someone that you trust them and you want to feel, you want to spend more time with them. So for me, with my clients, I always sit with them for a good portion before we start the process.
Sure.
And I explain to them how the process is done, how I do a light touch, what I see, what do they choose to know. Sometimes people are not up for hearing from a loved one. They may just want the whole healing aspect, which is really Reiki. But for me, and what makes me different, is that I can see other things. I'm medically intuitive. I have clear cognizance, clear sentience. I can utilize different aspects of my gift to deliver messages to you for full wellness.
Now, did you discover that in the process
Yes,
and work on certain
yes,
skills training?
absolutely.
Good
I
question.
felt like I felt like in the class that I was taking for Reiki during my training, like, does anybody else see that?
Yeah.
Do you see that color? No, I don't see that color. Or I would do a session and say something to someone, and they would look at me with their eyes wide and say, how do you know that? And I said, I don't know. I know that. So I was able to utilize then from there my spirit guides and their guides, as well as angels, ascended masters, to deliver messages to my client, what it is that they need to know for their highest and greatest good.
That's
Yeah, it's fascinating.
fascinating.
Yeah. And I find there are so many people that want that healing, and yet they don't have maybe the courage we were talking about earlier, or the sense of how to be vulnerable in letting that happen. What would you recommend?
Right. Well, I have to say, my business has been based solely on word of mouth. I do advertise for my business, but I think once you connect with someone and you make them feel empowered about themselves, and you've cleared their chakras and you've balanced their energy, they're able to see what life has to offer, and they may go speak to a friend or talk to someone and say, wow, I've met this person that is life-changing to me, and I think you need to see her.
Nice.
Fascinating. It's just remarkable because that you're describing your time with my wife.
Yes, absolutely. Your wife is wonderful. She's a beautiful soul.
It's that clearing, once those chakras were cleared, it took on a whole new meaning.
Right.
And obviously she's shy and demure and doesn't talk to every single person. Tell everybody about what wonderful work that you do.
She is. Your wife is amazing, and I'm not just saying that. I have
'Cause
always.
you're on TV, right?
No, yes. Well, I resonate very deeply with your wife because she is just as real as they come, and that's what I look for too in a friend. So not only is she my client, but I value her as a friend, and I am her biggest cheerleader. Whenever she's going through something in her life, I also think that's very important to be, as the Reiki master or a coach of any kind, is to be that person's advocate and their cheerleader.
Sure.
So, but even aside from your wife, every person in this world has issues and challenges that they go through, whether you're a new mom or you're starting a new business or you're a student or a teenager.
Right.
These life challenges, sometimes we just can't see past them.
Sure. Absolutely.
It's tough.
Absolutely.
What, if I can ask you, Mike, what have you noticed with your wife that's been really spectacular since she's been through the trainings and sessions with?
To get personal for a minute, I think that her having to see her dad pass, it was 30 days in hospice. It was not easy.
Right.
My dad passed in 5 days and fell and hit his head. But her dad was in hospice for 30 days. I think that took a lot of energy that got stuck in her, and then not having, not knowing how to release that.
Right.
And then once that was released, I just feel and sense how life-altering it was once she started seeing Allison.
Right.
And then there's a lightness about her that wasn't there before, which is really neat.
It is, and if I could just get a little personal with that for a moment, without breaking any confidentiality, of course. When we see a loved one cross, such as her father, she was extremely close to her dad, and I've seen her father's spirit on several occasions, and he is amazing with the amount of information he can give me. He even gives me things that I didn't know I can do. Smells, sounds. I mean, and those aren't my big things that I get. Like, oh, do you smell the perfume? I don't get stuff like that. So for him, he'll make noise for me. He'll do things that I was able to deliver messages on. But he's actually given me the feeling of how much he loves his daughter. And for me to see that connection, that bond, makes me understand her pain a little bit more, because she has so much pain for the loss of her father. Having said that, it's like an energy imprint on us. So that emotional imprint sits on us, and we're unable to move forward in our life because we're still grieving so much. So I was able to kind of work through that and deliver messages from her dad, which kind of gave her closure and made her happy in the same token. So
Yeah, I had a mentor that kind of talked about, not the same exact scenario, but something similar to when we have that loss pain, and how do we take the relative weight of the focus of the loss and bring what we are gaining from that situation. It seems not to be not compassionate, I mean, at all, but to really put the energy into the celebration,
right,
and into the acknowledgement of all of the gifts that that person has given and still is giving to you. And how do you take the relative weight of loss and switch it to gain, and what are the things that we're gaining?
That's such I love that you brought that up too, because going back to your wife, which was, he was giving me information of birthdays that had just passed, what kind of cake was at the birthday party, your son's baseball games. He would put a cap on, a specific color cap. Like, he was very specific in letting her know that he was still seeing everything that was going on in her life. And I think for her that just meant so much as far as closure, that he's still there.
Right. Yeah, that's amazing that you just want to be able to, at least develop your ability to focus on those things and cherish the things that bring celebration and recognition to the life of the people we care most about, and that's the energy we want to create.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the questions that I wanted to ask was, how does somebody go about healing themselves? Like, what?
That's a good question.
If you're my coach, I can work with you.
Right.
But what do I take away? Are you doing all the work, or is there some homework for me to do?
Well, yeah. To begin with, I would always do a session off the bat, because I'm able to scan the body and see what you have going on. Do you have physical ailments that may need attention from a chiropractor, a physician?
Right.
Because I'm not a physician. So then we will assess the physical aspects first. Then I look into some of the emotional aspects that they have going on. And each emotional aspect may require something. Is it a message from a loved one? Is it sitting quietly in meditation every day? If you have anxiety, I know what that energy feels like. If I touch you and you have severe anxiety, I feel like you've plugged me into an outlet. So I'm going to need to try to, get some of that energy off of you, because it's not healthy to have that much energy buzzing around in your body. So I would assess that first, but then from there on, I'll give them some homework. If you can't sit quietly and meditate, then I want you to go for a walk. Take the dog for a walk, because just walking could be a meditation. But watching what you eat is huge. I don't think anyone realizes that food vibrates at a specific rate as well. So, a slice of cake is 3 megahertz versus an apple, which is 70 megahertz. So if you eat the apple, you're going to keep your vibration high. So
how about apple cake?
Apple cake, well, that's
apple pie.
Apple pie.
Your body might start to do this, crash, but
a piece.
A piece is fine. A piece is fine.
A picture of a piece?
Yeah. Wash it down with a glass of wine.
No, your mind is powerful.
That's the grape,
that
right?
Might be good. I don't know if we focus on all those apple.
Wine is the grape, right? So.
Yes.
So what type of homework? Like, give me an example.
Well, I may give them homework where they may have to follow a guided meditation.
Okay.
I may actually show them specific areas on their body that I want them to focus on, and not necessarily pray, but put intention into themselves and have some self-care.
Great.
Maybe some self-love that they need to do. You also have a giving hand and a receiving hand. You're yin and yang. And if I feel that you're giving, you're going to be off energetically, which means you need to start to learn to accept from the universe, or else you're blocked, and then you just feel like you're giving all the time and not receiving. So
really
you mentioned breath. You know, is there anything with breath that we can do as far as
Oh,
the healing
breath
aspect?
work, yes, absolutely. Just sitting quietly and taking in breaths as you count to 7, holding it for a count of 3 to 5, and then exhaling for another count of 7. So learning to moderate your breathing and your breath work, it could lower blood pressure, it quiets the mind, especially. And sometimes that's what we need, is to just quiet our mind, because our mind is so powerful.
On the drive up here, many times I will do that in the car, turn off the radio as we're sitting in traffic, trying to lower our blood pressure while we're waiting. But mindful breathing is huge and powerful.
Huge.
Yes.
Huge, because energy is everything and everything is energy.
Sure. Somebody just recently introduced me to breath scaling. Have you ever heard of breath scaling?
What is it?
It's a more vigorous breathing technique that is meant to give you a overall body buzz.
Okay.
I'm learning more about it, but it's supposed to really fill you with like a real surplus of oxygen. And if you think of an athlete and when they're breathing deeply, maybe the next time we can try it. It'd be kind of comical too.
Well, breath work for me is a huge part of what I do, because when I meditate and I take in when I take in the breathing, the slow breathing, I actually raise my vibration, and that's what allows me to connect to spirit so much.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So not to change gears, but we usually don't hold hands with the guests.
But I've been dying to hold Allison's hand because I know she's going to heal me.
So I will tell you, the palms of the hands are one of my favorite parts of the body to hold on to when I'm performing Reiki, because the palms of the hands to me are just a gateway to all the meridians, your soul and another chakra, I feel.
Fascinating. Yeah. Do you need to hold both of our hands at the same time, or can you hold one person's hand?
I could hold both, but I would probably just get a flood of information, so I should probably start with one first.
Hold Kathy's hand first.
Kathy's hand.
I thought we were going to collide.
Okay. So your health overall is extremely healthy, which you know physically. Emotionally, you are passionate about what you do. You put 100% into every single thing that you do in life, including your 2 children, which I know you have 2 children, by the way. You don't stop at no, and you are just a very, very strong female, both physically and mentally, and that's an amazing, empowering aspect of you. And you are a great mentor for a lot of people that need that direction in their life, that push to go forward, because I feel like you don't stop at no, and that's good for some people to see that.
So what would you suggest that I do to kind of make the impact even more
powerful?
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of what you do and the work that you do involves a lot of physicality. Can you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. So in doing that, I think allowing your clients to quiet the mind a little bit and maybe slow down is okay. Saying to them, okay, I just ran you up this hill and you are sucking wind, and it's okay to just sit quietly for a minute and think about how proud you are of yourself.
Sure.
And turn inward. So,
thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
That was really cool.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, you want to read
Your
me?
turn.
I can't wait for this part.
I think, are we out of time?
Nope, not quite.
All right. Dr. Michael. Well, you two are in good physical health. I believe your wife watches your health more than you do, is from what I can feel. I feel she gets on you about what you're eating and drinking and make sure you're healthy. But aside from that, I can see that you've had huge changes as far as journey in your life and being more grateful. You've always been a very grateful person, but recognizing the gratefulness in the universe, stopping to do the breath work and stopping to recognize more mind, body, spirit of your own patients, right? And not just looking at the physical aspect of it. Feeling and connecting with them is huge, and they see that part of you.
Wonderful.
And that's why they come to you.
Excellent. That's fantastic. So, we would like to do something for our audience, and Kathy and I were kind of trying to come up with something. How about the first person that posts on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/The Health and Wellness Show in Bayonne. The first person who posts gets a free session. Is that okay with you?
Yes, I love
Awesome.
that.
Well, I'm going on there right
You go-
now. I'm gonna.
Kathy has her iPad right here.
I know. I'm trying to get to my eye.
Anything else that you want to say? I think we have, 2 minutes left, Andy? It has been a really, really neat time talking to you.
Thank
This is
you.
completely different than
Thank
anything we've
you.
ever done.
Yeah, and it's been good for me because for me to kind of come out as to who the true self is of
Sure.
me has been definitely a journey for me, and I've embraced it now,
Sure.
and I feel it's a gift that I should be sharing with others.
Absolutely. Is there anything you'd like to tell the people of Bayonne?
Oh, watch out!
There's good vibration.
Yes, good energy is in town.
Allison will be starting in our office in September. She'll be lecturing in our office September 22nd.
Yes, I
at
can't wait for it.
7:15 p.m. We're at 734 Broadway. Kathy is at the Forum.
Yes. Maybe we
Wonderful.
can kind of have a connection
Yes,
and do something fun.
I would love that. Yeah. So the lecture will have more tools
Yes.
for you to utilize to raise your vibration, to empower you, and to feel health and wellness all around.
If you'd like to get in touch with me, you can call the office, 201-858-0444. Kathy?
Yes, and if you'd like to get some positive energy, you can visit us at our Energy Cafe at the Forum. Our number is 201-988-7237. Mention positive energy and get a free VIP membership as well.
And Allison, where can people meet you?
Oh, people can meet me in Bayhead. They can go to www.integrativehealingandwellness.com. It's a little bit of a mouthful, but we need to integrate healing and wellness, and it's integrative healing and wellness.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having
awesome.
me. It was
Thank
a
you.
pleasure.
Oh,
Thank
my
you.
pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Great.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Yeah, I forgot
Bye.
that part.
It was awesome.